Welcome to Growing Younger Health and Fitness podcast designed for people over 40. Hi guys, and welcome to today's episode of the Growing Younger podcast. And today's question we're going to discuss is, am I going to become an Arnie? Am I going to be bulk up and look like a bodybuilder if I do strength training? Okay, so this is the question that we often face with many of our clients and would-be clients, people who come to us for a chat. I think it's a very common misconception and something that people do wonder a lot, and that sort of prevents them from getting into strength training. So we're going to discuss this in quite a bit of detail today. Okay, so I've decided that I'm going to split this question into two parts, and the reason is that the majority of people who posed us that question, they are women. So I'm going to address this question first, specifically relating to women who are a bit worried that they're going to look like a bodybuilder if they start doing a bit of strength training. So here we go. So first of all, I want to say pretty much you have nothing to worry about. Okay, so strength training, resistance training does not necessarily get you to grow massive muscles and look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, so there's a number of reasons for that. So number one, for females, women usually have lower testosterone levels. Okay, so that just means that it's harder for you to build big muscle compared to biological men. Okay, so it's very unlikely that you become, that you actually look like a bodybuilder if you just do a normal strengthening program. In fact, it's almost impossible for you to become a bodybuilder by doing that. Okay. Also, I mean, everything we do here on this podcast is for people over 40. So I assume that you guys listening, you're over 40. So therefore, as we get older, unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, it is harder for us to build muscle strength and muscle mass. Okay. So for women who are over 40, not only you have lower testosterone levels, but also it's harder for you to build muscle because with every year, every decade of life, after the age of 40, it does become harder to build muscle. Okay, so like I said, even if you do a lot of strength training, it's very unlikely that you'll grow your muscle to the point where you'll look like a bodybuilder or anything close to it. Okay. Now, if you do strength training, which we generally recommend for pretty much anyone after the age of 40, especially if you're a woman, you probably get more of a toning effect. Okay, so you might have like a bit of flabby arms, and if you lose a little bit of fat, and you strengthen your muscles, you'll kind of get that nice toning effect. You're not gonna get massive muscles. You're just gonna have that firm, good look to your body. All right. So, okay, so that's kind of the part that concludes the part that addresses the women. And now we kind of go to the general, the general answer. So, the people you see in the pictures, in the postcards, the bodybuilders, people who compete. Now, these people, they dedicate their life to this hobby or this sport, right? They do some crazy types of training in the gym. Okay, so they pretty much go to the gym every day or almost every day. They do some crazy weights. They have a very specific training program that targets, that helps them to grow massive muscle. Okay, so unless you are working with a trainer who specifically kind of helps you achieve those goals, you are not going to look like a bodybuilder. Let me assure you that. Okay, not only training part, but also the diet. Now, these guys who are bodybuilders, their food intake is very different to yours. Okay, so usually they have higher calories. They have a lot of protein, less carbs. basically they're shredding their body, they're cutting out the fat, and they're building the muscle. So unless you're following one of those diets, you are not going to look like a bodybuilder. Okay. And another thing about I'm not saying all bodybuilders, but especially the ones that are competing, or the ones who are really going for it, and it's the fact of life. A lot of them do take steroids. Okay, so the people that you see on the picture with like massive muscles, there's a good chance that they could be on steroids. And obviously, if you're not going to take steroids, you're not going to look like that. All right, so that should put you at peace. That if you do strength training, you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. Now, another thing I want to mention as well. So if you do strength training, and if you don't fix your nutritional intake, okay, so if you do, let's say if you eat quite a bit of junk food, or just generally eat, a lot of sugary things, what's going to happen is when you start strength training, you'll probably be hungrier, which is fine. But because if your nutritional habits are pretty average, you're going to eat more of the wrong thing. So if you like your, cookies and cheesecakes in the evening, and if you strength train, you're going to be more hungry, you're probably going to consume more of that stuff. So your overall calorie intake will increase, and you will get stronger. You probably will get fitter, but you also may put on a bit of weight as well, which may be for many of you not something you want. And I'm talking about not a good weight, but more like fat. Okay, so I would highly recommend that you look into your nutrition, get a good professional advice. It's important that you understand what good nutrition looks like, and basically get a good meal plan for yourself. Okay. Now, on the upside, so with strength training, and if you put this whole thing on a scale, right? So the dangers of, or the risks of strength training versus the benefits. Look, the benefits outweigh the risks or the negative effects any day, right? There's so many benefits of strength training, especially for people over 40. And I'm just going to list some of them. Okay, so especially for women, bone density. Okay, so many women become osteoporotic when they get older. So strength training, particularly weight bearing training, it helps to reduce the impact. It slows down the osteoporotic effect, and also it may actually help to reverse it to a certain degree. So it actually helps you strengthen your bones. So people generally live longer these days. Okay, well, it's a known fact. Okay, so if you compare life expectancy now and 50 years ago, there's going to be a big difference. Okay, now just because you live longer, it doesn't mean you're going to enjoy life. Okay, so in your 70s, 80s, and 90s, you are alive, but what's your quality of life going to be like? Okay, so strength training actually helps to improve your functional capacity. Okay, so things like getting up off the floor, climbing stairs, gardening. If you are stronger, you're going to enjoy your life a lot more. So with that in mind, I think strength training is very important. Now, having a bit more muscle in your body also helps to burn fat. Okay, so increases your metabolism, helps you burn fat. So if you're trying to lose a bit of weight, having more muscle in your body is definitely helpful. And one more important thing is, so as we get older, we run a higher risk of falling. Okay, so because our balance tends to go downhill, right? So by growing stronger muscles, particularly in your legs, you're going to improve your balance and minimize the risk of falling when you're older. So hopefully that all makes sense. So as I said, in summary, strength training is very important for pretty much almost everyone over the age of 40. And it has just so many benefits that I would not hesitate to get started. So, but you need some extra help, you need some guidance. So whether it's us or someone else that you contact to help you on your strengthening journey. All right. Hopefully that all helps, and I'll speak to you on the next podcast.
Okay, guys, so I hope you found the podcast of value. If you did and you're struggling with your own health and fitness journey, there's a link in the description for a free discovery call with me. And that free discovery call, we're going to cover off a little bit about you, your history, your goals, what you want to achieve, and maybe we can help you or not with your own health and fitness goal. So if that does sound like something that you'd like to do, then click on the link in the description, and I look forward to chatting to you in the very near future. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.